Hello everyone, in this video lecture we will discuss bisection method. Before starting bisection method, let us discuss when we will use bisection method. Bisection method basically used for finding the solution of nonlinear equation fx equal to 0. There are two kinds of nonlinear equation. One is transcendental equation, another is polynomial equation. Transcendental equation, whenever we are writing equation in this form x plus sin x equal to 0, log x plus x equal to 0, that means the equation containing function, that is called transcendental equation. Otherwise, if it is not containing any function, it is only in power of x, then it is called polynomial equation. Okay, so bisection method can be used to compute solution of transcendental as well as polynomial equation. So there are lot many methods to find solution of nonlinear equation. First of all, we are going to discuss bisection method. Bisection method is based on the intermediate value theorem. What is intermediate value theorem? Intermediate value theorem is stated as, if f is a continuous function defined on the interval a to b with f of a into f of b, with f of a into f of a and f of b are of opposite sign, then there exists at least one or odd number of roots in the interval a to b. Means what? If f is a continuous function that is defined inside the interval ab with f of a, f of b are of opposite sign. That means if f is positive, f of b is negative. Okay, that means the multiplication of f of a and f of b is what? That is less than 0. Then there exists at least one or odd number of roots inside the interval a to b. Okay, so let us suppose the function is something like that. This is the function f of x. Okay, this function, and it is crossing x-axis at 2 points. Okay, let us take 2 points about the root of the function, a point and b point. Okay, at f of a the function value is what? Here f of a is positive. Okay, at b point the function value is negative. So that means what? F of a, f of b is of opposite sign as per statement. Okay, when f of a, f of b is of opposite sign, that means there is a surety that the graph of the function will cross the x-axis at least once. So let us take alpha is the point where the function fx cut the cross x-axis. Okay, so this is the intermediate value theorem. It could be like that also. Like if the function graph is something like that, this is the function fx, it is crossing x-axis, not many point. F of a is this point, f of b is negative point. Okay, this is f of a, this is f of b. F of a, f of b is less than 0, then there are 3 roots. If you see from here, the function of the graph is crossing x-axis 3 times. So there are 3 roots lying between the interval a to b. So as per statement, if this condition satisfy f of a, f of b is less than 0, then there exists at least one or odd number of roots. Okay, odd number of roots. What will happen if f of a, f of b is greater than 0? Let us understand with the help of graph. F of a, f of b is greater than 0. In that case, f of a is positive and f of b is also positive. That means there exists either no root or even number of roots. You see here 1 and 2. Okay, there are 2 roots if f of a, f of b positive, or this is another example when there exists no root. Function graph is something like that. F of a and f of b is positive, then there exists no root. So keep in mind, whenever we want to apply intermediate value theorem, then it is applicable whenever f of a, f of b is less than 0. So next is bisection method. Bisection method is based on the repeated application of IVT theorem or intermediate value theorem. Okay, it is the simplest method to compute root of the equation fx equal to 0. So for applying bisection method, we have to check the intermediate theorem condition again and again for each and every interval. Let us understand the method, how it works. In this case, suppose we have to find out the root of the equation fx equal to 0, and we know by intermediate value theorem that the root of the function is fx equal to 0 is lying inside the interval ab. We know by intermediate value theorem that the root is lying inside the interval ab. Okay, that means f of a into f of b is less than 0. Okay, so we'll start with the first step, but what we will compute midpoint of the interval ab. So how to compute midpoint of the interval? Suppose this is a, this is b, and c is midpoint, then c equal to a plus b upon 2. Okay, so we will compute the point c, that is a plus b upon 2. Let us give the name c1. Okay, so this c1 is the midpoint of the interval ab, and then check the function value at a and c1 and c1 and b1. So now we will check root is lying at what point. Let us understand what does it mean. It means like suppose graph of the function is something like that. Okay, so a is this point, b is this point, and function is crossing this alpha. So suppose we are computing c is what? That is the midpoint. So a plus b upon 2. Now we have to check in which interval root is lying. Either root is lying inside the interval AC or inside the interval CB. Okay, so it could be any by any of the way, like something like that. Suppose the graph of the function is this, a is this, and suppose b is this. Okay, and this is your root alpha. This is the root alpha where the function cross or the fx crossing x-axis, and suppose c we are computing, this is somewhere here. Okay, c equal to a plus. So any of the case may occur, either this one or this one. So we may take one of the case because we don't know at the starting, but graphically we can understand what is happening. Okay, so c equal to a plus b upon 2. Now we will check f of c1 is less than 0. If c is lying here, so f of a, f of c, it is positive, but f of c is what? This is the point. F of c is this point, f of b is negative. So in this case, f of c and f of b is less than 0. In this case, c is this point. In this case, f of a, f of c is less than 0. But here, f of c, f of b is greater than 0. So root is lying, in this case, root is lying between AC, and in this case, root is lying between inside the interval CB. So let us assume, to understand this thing, we will assume that the f of a, f of c1 is less than 0. C1 we are assuming. Okay, so root is lying inside the interval a1 c1. Okay, so a1 c1, a1 is what? That we are taking as a equal to a1. Okay, so a1 c1 is lying inside the interval ab. Obviously this is the interval a1 c1, it is what? A smaller interval, and this is half of the previous interval, so it is lying inside the big interval. So a1 c1 is lying inside the interval ab. So a1 equal to a we are taking, b1 equal to c we are taking. So what we are doing here, a1 ab, so what we got c in between, so we are calling it c1, and now we are taking it a1 c1. So a equal to a1 we are taking. So this interval again we are taking as a1 as a and c1 as b, or we can call it as a1 b1. Okay, because a is as it is, only c1 we are taking as b1. So now the new formed interval is what? a1 b1. Okay, so new formed interval is what? a1 b1. This a1 b1 is contained inside the interval ab, and it is containing the root. Okay, so this is the case we are having, this interval a1 c1. So this is a1, this is a1, this is c1 equal to b1. So this interval is containing the root now. Okay, so this length of this interval a1 b1, it is simple, only b1 minus a1, or b1 minus a1. This I1 is what? That is equivalent to I upon 2. I is the initial interval, so b minus a upon 2 raised to power 1. So I1 equal to I upon 2. Okay, so we understand this by the graph like that. Okay, so first initial interval is what? AB. We are getting the C1 interval here. Okay, so C is what? This is positive value. So A1 C1 A1 as A, B1 as C1 as B1. So ultimately it is A1. So A1 C1 is the new formed interval, and the length of the interval is what? A1. B minus A upon 2. Similarly, we can bisect the interval A1 B1. A1 B1 again, what we will do? We will compute the midpoint of A1 B1, that is C2. A1 plus B1 upon 2. Again, we will check the condition f of A1 C2 is less than 0. That means what? This is A1 B1. Now we are computing C2. Either root is lying here or here. So if f of A1 C2 is less than 0, or f of C2 into f of B1 is less than 0, any one of the case will be there. So let us assume root is lying inside the interval C2 B1. We are just assuming, okay, because we are having all theoretical values, not numerical values. So it may vary according to the questions. So C2 B1, root is lying inside the interval C2 B1, that is f of C2, f of B1 is less than 0. So let us take the case A2 equal to C2 and B2 equal to B1. So we are having new interval A2 B2. So C2 we have taken, because if the root is lying inside the interval C2 B1. So C2 will be the initial point of the interval. Let us take it as A2, and B1 we take as the interval B2. Understand? So this C2 B2 is what? It is the new formed interval. Before it was A1 B1. Okay. So it is containing inside the interval I1, and length of the interval I2 will be what? B2 minus A2 upon 2. Okay. Or it is half of the previous interval, I upon 2 square. Okay. Length of the interval A2 B2 is what? B2 minus A2 upon B2 minus A2. Length of I2 will be what? B2 minus A2. Then we should write here B1 minus A1 upon 2. Okay, so I1 upon 2, so I upon 2 square, and so on. Continue this process. We are getting a small interval A and Bn that is containing the root. So the length of the interval is what? Bn minus An, and it will write in term of the original interval, that is B minus A raised to power 2n. Total n steps. So the interval A and Bn contain the root alpha. Alpha is what? It is lying inside the interval AB. Obviously, let us take Cn is the value. Alpha is what? Here. This is the alpha point. And Cn is midpoint. So Cn is the midpoint of A and Bn. So we can write Cn minus alpha. So the difference between Cn minus alpha, it will be what? The length of between Cn और alpha के बीच का जो length है, that will be less than between the length of the length of alpha and Cn. Okay, it will be less than the length of the interval A and Bn. So we can write this condition: Cn minus alpha is less than equal to Bn minus An, and we know the value of Bn minus N is what? B minus A upon 2 raised to power n. So B minus A upon 2 raised to power n. Okay. Cn minus alpha, if we are taking n is tending to infinity, when n is tending to infinity, so the term B minus A upon 2n, n is 2 raised to power n is in the denominator, so it is tending to 0. Okay, so this implies that in Cn minus alpha is tending to 0. So this Cn minus alpha is tending to 0 as n is tending to infinity. So this implies that Cn is tending to alpha, n equal to 1 to 3 and so on. So Cn converging to alpha with rate of convergence of order 1 by 2n. That means in each and every step, the length of the interval is going to be half of the previous case. So we are saying Cn is what? That is the nth, at the nth iteration midpoint of the interval A and Bn. Okay, so it is converging to root alpha with rate of convergence of order 1 by 2 raised to n. If we understand the method, so what is happening? I1 is the first interval, I1 is containing I2, is containing I3, and so on In. At last we are getting a very very small interval that is equivalent to simply a point. Okay, so results gives only the bound for approximation error, and the bound might be quite conservative. That means what? Like here we are getting always interval, and that interval is less than equal to the error of the is less than equal to some epsilon. Epsilon is what? That is the tolerance in which the root is lying. Okay, so here let us solve a problem with the help of bisection method. So find the solution of the equation fx equal to x minus 2 raised to power minus x within 10 raised to power minus 1. That means the root is required within 10 raised to power minus 1. That means tolerance is given here 10 raised to power minus 1. And the function is x minus 2 raised to power minus x. So fx equal to x minus 2 raised to minus x equal to 0, epsilon equal to 10 raised to power minus 1. Let us start to check the function value at some point. We'll start with the positive integer. So we'll start with 0. F of 0 is coming out to be negative and f of 1 is coming out to be positive. So what it indicates that f of 0 and f1 are of opposite sign. So at least one root is lying inside the interval 0 to 1. Okay. So root is lying inside the interval 0 to 1. That means we have to compute root inside the interval 0 to 1. So what we will do, first of all, we will compute midpoint of the interval AB. So equal to 0, equal to 1, we will compute midpoint of AB, that means 0 plus 1 upon 2, that is 0.5. Okay, and then compute function value at the point 0.5. It is coming out to a minus 0.2071. 0.2071. Let us write in term of some table, so it will be easy to understand. First of all, we start with the first iteration n equal to 0. So whatever given, that will be saved in for n equal to 0. N equal to 0, that means a0 and b1. So at the initial level, what the value of the interval is given 0 and 1. And then we are computing midpoint, that is 0.5. And then compute function value at 0, f of a and f of cn. If f of a, f of cn are of same sign, that means the root is lying inside the interval cn, bn. Since f of a and f of c both are negative, that means the root is lying between cb. Okay, so the multiplication is positive, so the root is lying in between cb. So c will be what? That will be your initial point at the next iteration, that is a. Okay, this is 0, this is 1, it is 0.5, and function value f of 0 and f of 0.5, they are of same sign. Okay, so root is lying inside the interval, root is lying in 0.5 and 1. So that means now the desired interval is what? 0.5 is 1. So a is what? 0.5. Now 1 is what? Your b. So that's why we are writing here 0.5 is a and 1 is b. Now we will compute midpoint of 0.5 and 1, it is 0.75. Now we will compute function value at a and c. One value is negative, another is positive. So the root is lying between a and c only. So f a and c, that means a and c. A is your 0.5 as it is, and c will be what? Now we have to compute midpoint. C is 0.75. 0.75 is your b. Okay. So what we have done? We have again divided this interval between, like at the midpoint, this is your c. So since f of a, f of c is less than 0, so the root is lying between a and c. A is already given as 0.5, c is we have computed, that is 0.75. So that's why a is 0.5 and it is 0.75. Cn is what? Now compute the midpoint of this interval. Midpoint. Okay, so that will be again 0.5 plus 0.75 upon 2. This is equivalent to 0.625. 0.625. Now compute f of a, negative, f of c is negative. So you can ask, like, we will continue up to how many steps. So for that we are checking error of the consecutive values. That means at the first level we have computed c, and then we have computed c0 and c1. So we are computing the difference between c1 minus c0. c1 minus c0. So this c1 minus c0 is what? 0.25. Tolerance is given here, this one, 0.1. So if the difference between c1 minus c0, it is coming out to be less than 10 to the power minus 1, we will stop, otherwise we will continue. Okay, so since 0.25, that is c1 minus c0, c1 minus c0. So this value is what? 0.75 minus 0.5. It is 0.25, or so this value 0.25 is greater than 10 raised to the minus 1. That's why we will go to the next step. Now after that, the next step is what? Here we computed 0.625. So the difference of 0.625 and 0.725, it is 0.125. It is again greater than 10 raised to the minus 1. So we have to continue for the next step. So in the next step, again we were getting the value 0.625. So f of a is negative, f of c is also negative. So it is of the same sign. So the root is lying between c and b. So c is your a point and b is your 0.75. Now we'll find out the midpoint, 0.6875. Now compute function value at this point, negative, positive. Again we will check difference of the consecutive iteration also. So it is coming out to be 0.0625 and 0.625. It is less than 10 raised to the power minus 1, that is 0.1. So we will stop here and we will say that this is the root of the equation correct up to 1 decimal places. Why 1 decimal places? Because only the result is asked to compute the to get value that is correct to 1 decimal places. So whenever this condition cn minus 1 is satisfied, we will stop. Okay. After applying bisection method, so this is the procedure how to apply bisection method. Next is number of iteration in bisection method. Number of iteration in bisection method we have already discussed here, that cn minus alpha is less than equal to b minus a upon 2n, that we have already shown in the previous part. So we can say if the error is less than epsilon, we will stop. Okay, so that means cn plus 1 minus cn is less than epsilon, we will stop. So we can say from here, this reason, this value b minus a upon 2 raised to n is less than equal to epsilon. That means this value is smaller than this one. If we'll say this bound b minus a upon 2 raised to n is less than epsilon, we can also stop. So taking log of this value, log b minus a minus n log 2 is less than equal to log of epsilon. N is what? N is the number of iterations. Okay, taking log of these values and then compute the value of n. N is coming out to be greater than equal to log of b minus a minus log epsilon upon log of t. So from here we can compute how many iteration is required to get the accuracy of epsilon get the accuracy of epsilon of the root. Okay, let us do one example so that it will be clear. Find the number of iteration needed for computing the root of the equation inside the interval 0, 1. So equation is what? Cos x minus x e raised to x equal to 0 with epsilon equal to 10 raised to 1. For the same question, we have to compute number of iterations. So n is greater than equal to log of b minus a. B is what? That is 1 and 0 is a. B minus a minus log epsilon 10 raised to minus 1 upon log 2. So after calculation, here we are taking base 10. Sorry, base e. Okay, so value coming out to 3.32. So n is greater than equal to 3.32. That means n equal to 4. Okay, for the same question, you can check here how many iteration is required to get the accuracy of 10 raised to the minus 1. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 iteration. It is equivalent to the theoretical result that we have computed. Okay. So here this is the benefit of bisection method. In advance you can know the number of iteration needed to compute the root of the equation x equal to 0. Some example are given here that you can try by yourself. Next is drawbacks of bisection method. This method is comparatively slow. We will discuss some more method, then you will find that this method is slow, but it always converges. Okay. Second thing is what about this method? The function fx equal to x square. If we are talking about the example fx equal to x square, it touches the x-axis and x equal to 0 is the root of the equation fx equal to x square. Okay, but if we try to apply by intermediate value theorem, so it is not applicable because f of a, f of b is always greater than 0. Okay. they are greater than 0, and when so intermediate value theorem cannot be applied in this case. But x equal to 0 is the root of the equation fx equal to 0. One more example, fx equal to 1 by x. Here at x equal to 0, the function fx is not continuous. When it is not continuous, so IBD cannot apply. So in this case, we are having this condition f of a into f of b is less than 0. But this we can not, but x equal to 0 is not the root of the equation fx equal to 0. At x equal to 0, function is not defined. Okay, so x is not equal to 0.